Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines.
Yes, we're here. Between the Lines. Between the Lines is our Monday week news starters. My name is Mark Godwin and I'm speaking from Milan, Italy. Far away, Lagos, Nigeria is our coordinator, Olayinka Raji. Raji, welcome to Between the Lines.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, viewers around the world. Welcome to Between the Lines on Monday.
Yes. Raji,
yes, please.
A lot is happening from your end. So yes. Between the Lines, want to get the full gist, all that we're hearing and seeing. I hope you're ready to give us that, throw the lines in.
Ever ready.
Ever ready. Also, Ever Ready takes his time to be with us, leave every other thing he does, all to come into this wonderful portal is our man, George Chukwu from Toronto, Canada. George, how are you?
I am just great, and it's a pleasure to be here. Viewers from around the world, we welcome you to Between the Line, and it's good to have you, Mark Godwin, and my man, Olayinka Raji.
Yes.
My man.
That mischievous healing.
No, I love you, man.
No. I don't agree. The man is your man. No matter
it's my man. I don't care.
We could have diverse opinion. We could have
my paddy man.
Yes, he is. All right, gentlemen. George, it's good to see you. A lot happening as we normally say, and we're here to put it out from our own perspective. Deciphering those news events that has been happening. So let's take it from the start. First of all, I want to welcome everybody that is joining us. Back at home, there has been tension in our politics. 4 states in Nigeria ran through what you call local council election. Rivers State, Akwa Ibom State, Benue State, Jigawa State all held their local election. Gentlemen,
Anambra.
Yeah, Anambra too. Is that okay? Is Anambra in that too? Okay.
Yes.
But there were tensions in some of those places, more especially in Rivers State. So let me open it up. Let me start with you, Raji. How was all of those? Yes. How was it? The ones you were able to monitor.
I'm particularly interested in the situation in Rivers State.
Okay.
And I'm very, very happy the whole thing as it played out. Okay. First, there was a court injunction restraining the IGP from providing security for the elections.
Okay.
Surprisingly, there was no violence at all across most of the polling booths in Rivers State. In fact, it became very clear that maybe, just maybe, whether it's the police that actually caused insecurity with their presence, because there was hardly any ballot box snatching or anything. It seems as if the people were determined to show that they were determined to release themselves from the bondage into which they have been put for some time. And regardless of, you see, when there's an election, it is better for you not to boycott it, but for you to be part of it and then protest later. But if you boycott an election, even if there's 5% voter turnout, the election is still legal. I congratulate all the chairmanship candidates who won the elections in Rivers State. And I congratulate the governor for standing up for the people of Rivers State.
Okay. It sounds real insightful. George, is it the same thing? Were you monitoring that? Were you?
Yes, I did. I
Mhm.
did. I did.
Go ahead, George.
And the situation is really very interesting. That's the word that I will use for it. First and foremost, I just want to commend our current president for actually, whether he was the one that instituted it or not, but it is a current right now that the federal government will now deal directly with the local government rather than going through the governors. And that is the part of the reason why you're seeing a lot of interest in the local government election, because all of a sudden it seems as if there's much interest in it, because they can be receiving funds directly, from the federal government. So now, but that on all over the whole election that took place in local election that took place in Nigeria, the current government or the ruling government, whoever they were also the ones that won the 100% of the votes. So it seems as if in Anambra, Abga won. In some of the other places, the ruling party in those where the governor belongs were the ones that won. But the interesting fact is that in Rivers State, the PDP and the APC government decided that they're not going to participate. So they boycotted the election. And then, interestingly also, APP came from nowhere. Now, everybody's accusing Fubara of being, the proxy for that particular, party. But you cannot say that until you see him step out from where he is and join them. For now, a political party was instituted, and they won the whole entire, out of the 23 polling booths, they won 22. So now the question, and I have seen them ask questions. Why is Fubara trying to be like Wike by, making sure that he won the 22 local government elections instead of other parties? But the point is, the major parties that were supposed to be contesting with him decided they're not gonna participate. So all the people you saw there was possibly APP members, and they voted and they won. So, which is nothing to complain about. Like, my man Olayinka Raji said, you cannot boycott an election and then go to court after the election has legitimately been done. And another issue is we see the mess that is going on in Nigeria when it comes to politics. Number one, in other states where these local government elections were held, why was it that all the ruling party in that state won all the seats? Is it that other parties did not participate, or there was no interest to bring them out? So that's one question that we really need to understand. But right now that this particular thing is going on, it's very interesting, and we need to pay more attention to the way that the people that will be governing will govern. Because if they're going to be receiving money from federal government, and there are no checks and balances, then the council members ought to be diligent in watching out that the chairman is not abusing his authority or abusing finances. There ought to be transparency, and there ought to be checks and balances in order to ensure that the monies that are given to this local government chairman are being used to take care of the people, because they are the grassroots. They are the ones actually that is suffering the pain more than any other. So, it's interesting, and I commend Governor Fubara for what he did. That there was peace in that place. A few number of things did happen where they saw a police officers, making away with some. I don't know what that meant. Maybe they were helping the electioneers, the people that are working with the election, to take away, because there was no actual explanation to what was really going on. And there was also an allegation about, APC, one of the APC places, bomb threat. But beside that, it was absolutely peaceful. But also another thing that I think we need to discuss later is the involvement of the judicial government in elections, because they are the ones that are causing a lot of confusions in our country.
We'll come to this, George. George, you gave a very elaborate run through with that. But what I want to say, my own small take on this is, I think Rivers State election, this election is like a turning point for governance in that state. You know, now it is obvious that Fubara has proven himself to be the governor of that state,
the man in charge.
Yes, the man in charge. Raji, do you agree with me? Because I somehow, George, I don't agree that Fubara is looking like Wike. I mean, he has a mandate, and
that's the allegation. That is the allegation. The allegation, especially, I'm going to say this because I'm not in agreement with Oseni Rufai. Rufai Oseni, he's the one that is pushing this narrative that he is becoming like that, but he's forgetting all the atrocities that the Godfather himself, Wike, have done and trying to stifle this government. I mean, you know, desperate measures will require desperate actions in order to combat it. So I am in agreement with Fubara in whatever he's doing to govern the state. And you warn the people that were elected, make sure you govern fairly, make sure you govern equitably. If you do not, you're going to lose it. And it was a good warning that was given to them. So I am so happy what is happening there. But also, I don't think that it is over, because Wike has taken over our presidency. I don't know if Tinubu is a weak man or just a follower, but what is happening in Rivers State ought to have been stopped by the federal government, especially the executive president of Nigeria. If you want peace in your country, take your hack men and make sure that they do not disturb the peace in their states. If you allow this to happen, what is going to happen in other places?
George, let's hear Raji. Raji has something to say. Raji,
yes. I think we are running a system of government that is confusing. Local government elections are state affairs. There's no federation where the central government deals directly with the local government. So let us be very, very careful about this so-called local government autonomy, because it is confusing. Are we running the unitary government, or we are running a federal government? There's already something going on in the National Assembly, where the National Assembly is trying to make laws to remove state elections from the state Independent Electoral Commission and put it in the hands of the INEC. You cannot do that. It is unconstitutional, same as the so-called local government autonomy is unconstitutional, because there's a constitutional provision for how the local government funding will come to the state. And there was a joint accounting program that should have been strengthened, not removing their responsibility from them and passing it straight to the federal government. We are running a confused constitution, and therefore, just as Sir George has said, it is not done yet. It's not done yet, because the gangster we have as the president is going to make sure that local government funds do not go to the local government, because the process of election was not according to what he wanted to do. Because the president is trying to take out the responsibility of the state to conduct local government elections from the state. It is unconstitutional.
Yes, a lot of disagreement on how everything is going. But so far, we see River State, 23 newly elected local government chairmen have been sworn in. And we also saw some not too good scene from the clips that was sent to the studio. Policemen seizing ballot boxes. I mean, Raji, did you see that? What does that mean? I mean, why do they come in to seize ballot boxes? Did you see those clips?
The policemen were not supposed to be around. So what were they doing around? They're not supposed to be around. So what were they doing around? if they are sent by the federal government or by weekday, then they should be careful. There seems to be a nascent dictatorship brewing in Nigeria. There seems to be a nascent distortion going on, and we should be all be careful. We should be all be diligent, because this so-called local government autonomy is a farce. It's a fraud.
Okay, George, do you have anything to say? Atiku Abubakar, we know he's a PDP man, has hailed that election in Rivers State. He says it's a triumph of democracy. Also, the governor of one state, I think that's Bala Mohammed, a senator, said yes, that this time Simi has proven himself to be a true Democrat, taking over the state. I think now peace might come this way to.
Well, you see, I understand all of that, but the point is that the diligence of this hack man, and I call them hacker, president's hack man, because the president of Nigeria is not in support. His silence is actually, saying that he's in support of what Wike is doing in River State, which is very, very wrong. So the man ought to, as the executive president of Nigeria, call your man down and tell him back off. Let this man govern that state. Back off, or I will sit you down from being the FCT man. So, because that's the problem we're having now. You keep quiet, and the man is called, he's just run to court, just recently, after the election, he's going to court. What are you going to court for? You decided to boycott the election. You didn't think it was important. Now the election is held, and you're going to court for what? And the next people that Nigeria will not need to deal with is the arm of the judicial government, side of the government. We need to nip them in the bud and hold them accountable. When they make judgments that are unconstitutional and that does not even make any sense, let the people come out in the open and come against them. Go to their houses. Go to their houses, because it's time for us to start nipping this in the bud. If we don't go to the root cause of all this mess we are facing, all of a sudden the Supreme Court will give a judgment, and then the governor or FCT governor will go to another judge and maybe bring bags of money to them, and they will allow situations like this. Why would the police not be there? Why would they, not allow the police? Because they think that something else is going to happen, and there'll be a chaos in the state. We need to really nip these things in the bud, because if we don't, it's going to come to bite us later. The judiciary, there should be a judicial reform in Nigeria, and let the courts know the hierarchies and how to outperform. Because one person will go to another state and file something, another person will run to another state and file something, and these judges are nothing but political prostitutes. That's what I call them.
That's what you call them.
Anyway, we should not. We should not allow ourselves to lose faith in the judiciary. Otherwise, there will be chaos in the country.
Let me tell you something. We have already lost it.
We should be careful the way we criticize the judiciary. Still, the judiciary,
when they are not following the constitutional, provisions made, when they are doing things that are, siding each, like whoever comes to them. It's like a kids joke. It's like kids playing soccer in the field, because that's what it looks like.
Even the so-called local government autonomy judgment that was given by the Supreme Court is faulty, because what the Supreme Court needed to do was to interpret the law and if probably give more teeth to the Joint Action Committee that was supposed to disburse funds from the federal government to the state government and then on to the local government. But in all this, we need to restructure the polity.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. You're both saying meaningful things, but also viewers, let's make you understand that yes, there were those local government elections, and other states looked like it was peaceful. Akwa Ibom did the swearing in of the chairman yesterday, this morning, and everything looked serene. Jigawa also did the same. Benue, and I don't know much of Anambra. Okay, what do you have on Anambra, George? What was
Nothing much has come out from Anambra. All we know is that they won all the seats, the local chairman seats there. So that's basically Abga won. So that's what we know. But as for swearing in, you see, that's what I'm saying. Jigawa just sworn in the local government chairmen that they have done, and they are going to swear in the commissioners also. But yet, Arise News will come against Fubara as if he is doing it, extraordinarily to prevent something. I don't like that. No, because we need to be very, very fair when we do certain things. Let's be fair. No, because other states are doing the same thing. Why are you coming after this man, trying to stroke fire where there is no fire?
Well, that state is one hot state. I mean,
but why are you trying to bring fire where there is no fire, though?
Who controls that state matters, and the powers that control matters too. So eyes are there more. Imagine, out of all the states that did the election, it is more attention is more on Rivers State, because that's like the hand that lays the golden egg.
But you see, can I just give you one final, just 1 minute, 1 minute.
Okay.
What happened in River State was like what is going to happen in the millennial period of Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, I gotta bring this in. When Satan and the demons will be bound for 1,000 years, and there will be no temptation. So what you're seeing now is the PDP and APC with Wike, they were all out. They boycotted the election, so there was peace in the land. There was no temptation. There was no fighting. So that's what's going to happen during the millennial reign. Anyway, thank you.
Yes, that's it. Thank you, George. It's interesting.
No, this is the shape of my mouth. So, I'm not laughing.
Let's move on, guys. Let's move on to other stories. Let's come to some other parts of Africa. Ethiopian lawmakers. The Ethiopian system is a parliamentary.
Yes.
So the lawmakers during the weekend picked their own president. The president is a ceremonial head, but also has some powers. So that country, Ethiopia, chose its head of government, and we saw a shift from the woman that has always been there. You all know, I think her name is. What's that name again? Salah Walk Zewde. Salah Walk Zewde. That's the former president of Ethiopia. I think we have a picture of her from the studio. Yeah, that's her. So she's now been taking up that position, and now you have a man same age. His name is Taye Selassie. That's the new president of Ethiopia. That's position that is ceremonial, but also very strong. So Taye is the new president. He's going to take office. He's been sworn in today. That's Taye there. Selassie. Taye Selassie. So
is he actually related to Emperor Haile Selassie?
Well, I think it's the name, I think it's one very common name in Ethiopia. So yeah, viewers, that's it. Ethiopia, you all know where Ethiopia is. We call it the Horn of Africa. Rugged, landlocked country, but also an old country with a lot of ancient culture. One of the oldest countries in Africa. So they've changed powers.
Actually, the first country to be mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah, and you still have the prime minister. That's the prime minister there. The prime minister Abiy Ahmed is still there as the prime minister. He's the commander in chief. He's also the head of government. That's the prime minister Abiy Mohammed. Guys, do you have anything to say? Raji, you follow African updates. Do you have anything on this?
I just wish that Nigeria will revert to a parliamentary system of government, which is much cheaper to run and more serene. Yes.
Much serene and much cheaper to run. Viewers, are you hearing that? That's a man that's following the trends.
I wouldn't mind. agreeing with Olayinka Raji. The problem is that parliamentary, the same way they gave us democracy, and we have not taken all the juices and all the tentacles of democracy and operate in it. The same way, if we bring parliamentary system in Nigeria, we will find ways of circumventing the route through parliamentary system and put our own twist into it. So that is the problem that we are having. You see, even in our own, a presidential type of election that we have, with all the money spent to make sure that it was a free and fair election, what happened? They're circumventing, they're twisting things, to suit their own interest.
We had a parliamentary system of government before.
We did.
Yes,
but it didn't last too long.
It was not as convolution. It wasn't as convolution. It wasn't as convulsing and convolution as it is as we're having now. And we didn't have to spend too much money to become president. And there was nothing like a Milocon.
Man has put another one up now. Okay. That's an update from Africa. Ethiopian lawmakers select their new president, and we see smooth exchange of power, no fight, none of those things that could happen in some places. Let's move on to other African news, gentlemen. Mozambique. Who knows where Mozambique is? Mozambique is closer
to South Africa.
Yes, Southern African nation. Yes, it cuts across with the Indian Ocean by the coastline. Speaks Portuguese, about 32 million people. So Mozambique will be going to the polls, and yes, there is that young man you see on the screen there. He's the candidate,
a new kid on the block.
Yeah, the new kid on the block. So let's see how it goes. Daniel Chapo is his name. He's leading in the campaign, and it looks like he might be the next president of Mozambique. So Mozambique, Raji, what's your take on Mozambique?
No, I think they are doing good. They are doing good, and I wish the best candidate wins the election. Yes.
Mozambique, good. Yeah. So Africa is moving on. Yes, democracy somehow, gentlemen, let's look into this before we go on a break. Somehow, when it's peaceful, when it's done well, and people follow through, somehow it's helping governance in Africa. But in another way, it's like a problem. It's creating chaos, trouble for some other parts. George, what do you think? Democracy.
Well, democracy can be good. I think it's a better way of governing if it is well instituted and well carried out. Now, you see, one of the major problems is that there was a situation that was happening recently, whereby in Nigeria, we immediately, the government came in this time from the podium where he was inaugurated. He started running his mouth without thinking, without any back. No. Seriously, this is a very serious issue. And then also we started taking advice from external bodies that have gone through the processes of the way that they deal with their finances. All of a sudden, we are borrowing all these systems without going through the same system that they have gone through to come to where they were. And we just hump into it. We just come into it. We're going to allow our naira to be floated. And then all of a sudden, people are dying. People are dying because of that decision. But we did not know that those who are operating in that decision, they have gone through processes to come to where they were. We have to be allowed to go through our own process, because now all of a sudden there is inflation in Nigeria, there is food insecurity in Nigeria. People are not able to access their money. Their money that they had all these years, that is now useless. So these are the things we need to think about when it comes to democracy. For instance, we're talking about parliamentary system right now. We need to go and study the parliamentary system. Those that are operating in it, what did they do? How did they do it? Come to Canada. They will show you what to do. We have a parliamentary system here too. So now, so don't just go and then read a book about parliamentary system. Oh, we're going to do a parliamentary system. No, you need to go step by step and understand every aspect of it, because everything that you do have pros and cons. Does it fit the narrative in your country? Are you ready for that type of government? Now, if it is something that you can progressively do, then take your time. So that's what we're saying. What about democracy? We need
George,
to understand the principles of democracy. Why was it instituted in the first place? What is it? How is it better in a presidential or parliamentary or any other type? And then see the one that will suit your own nation. Because not every nation is like Nigeria. Nigeria is different countries put together. That's what it literally it is.
That's what
It's about 4 or
literally
5
is.
countries put together.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Now,
we
gentlemen,
need to study a way that governance will be equitable and fair for us. The type of government that will be good for us.
George, hold this talk. We're coming back. Raji, I want you to bring your own take on this. Is democracy working for Africa? It's like a spontaneous question, but let's dive in a few minutes when we come back, like 5 minutes on that topic. So let's be back. Viewers, you're tuning to Between the Lines, Monday, the 7th of October, a very significant day. We're coming to talk about what today means for some other people. So stay there, hang on with us, Between the Lines.
Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines. In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in diaspora and at home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
Between the lines, viewers. My name is Mark Godwin Iwejuwa, and Raji is here. We are putting up lines on this 7th day of October. George, are you with us? Are you there?
I am with you completely.
So, Raji,
100%.
George was saying some very pivotal things earlier on about democracy. You don't just read the book on a particular form of governance and begin it. You have to go through the practice. So what will you say, Raji?
See, George has said that Nigeria is a group of nations brought together. The best form of government for Nigeria will be a federalist federal government, true federalism, which was practiced in the First Republic. And during that First Republic, we had a parliamentary system of government. That is the best system of government for Nigeria. The executive system of government was imposed on us by Obasanjo and his military regime. And the most peaceful form of government for Nigeria, because of the ethnic nationalities that form this country, will be federalism. What you are running here is neither federal nor unitary. It's a combination of all manner of highfalutin principles. The best form of government for Nigeria will be a true federalism with parliamentary system of government, which is much cheaper to do than this executive type of government. It's in the United democracy comes in various forms. Democracy comes in various forms. Even what is being practiced in China is some form of democracy, as long as it is agreeable to the people. So when you talk, democracy is not necessarily the best form of government, But among all forms of government, it's probably much more acceptable to humans than any other form of government.
Thank you very much. Before George says anything again, let's look at our viewers, like when they get involved. Thank you, Exigen, that regular viewer that is always with us. Exigen, you're awesome. You say we've had ancestors who governed themselves before the British came. We could learn something from them as well. Thumbs up for that comment. Thumbs
That's
up.
true.
And that's what Raji is saying. Raji is partly what you're saying. Now, we were doing our thing somehow, and it was working beautifully. We talk of the Edo Kingdom, the Edo people. George is always making that reference. Edo in the south of Nigeria had a system they had that was working beautifully, and they used it to create a strong empire. But somehow they came and crushed it, scattered it all, and now impose another thing to them. George, you're always talking about their do and their kingdom.
Yeah, because when you think about the Benin Kingdom had like almost 1,000 years ahead of the rest. You know, they had a very strong kingdom that was actually working. And, you know, they had that kingdom. But what you find out is that most kingdoms that are like that, when the British came, they found that it was easier for them to take over, to penetrate, because all you need to do is one head. When you penetrate one head, the rest will follow. And that's exactly what happened. And they came to, you know, it's in Yoruba land also, they had similar type of government. And then when you go to the north, you have the same exact thing. The only problem the British had was the Igbos, because they were Republican in nature. There's a saying that you know, like Igbo as a whole have no single one leader, because their system of government was unique. It was different. And, you know, so they have a system of government where, you know, you will have one Eze or a chief. Then you have the cabinet members. And the chief cannot make an executive decision without consulting all the senators or the cabinet members. So, and that's exactly why it was so difficult for the British to penetrate in Igbo land. So now what you're seeing is when you come to a nation, you have to study. Lord Lugard did a very, very intense study about the different types of government or governance in the whole entire Nigeria. And this is what part of the thing that he reported. So now, but having these different kinds of leadership in different areas, you need to study and find out the one that will be more equitable and the one that will be more fair and the one that will create an equal level of governance for everybody. And I think what Raju was suggesting about federalism might be the proper thing to do.
Thank you. All right, guys, I wanted us to do this small talk on democracy. And
Can you imagine me and Raju on one side today?
Yes, today. We'll be doing
I'm
more.
not talking because
gentlemen,
the devil is in the details. I don't want to go into the details.
Gentlemen, we'll be doing more of these democracy insights, because we need to really know where we're going with as a people in Africa. Maybe some countries in Africa don't need this type of democracy, this type of governance. Maybe some might need to build their own, like Russia is building its own, you know, and China and the rest. All right, guys, let's look at today. Today is October the 7th. Raji, you were throwing out some real strong, controversial topics on today. Today is October the 7th. We know a year ago at this time, families were kidnapped, people were massacred, a lot of things happened. Gentlemen, let's talk about October 7th with Israel and Hamas. George, let me start with you, because I know Raji is ready to. Raji has his. He's
ready to pounce. He's ready to pounce. Yeah.
So, George, let's hear you.
You see, the issue that we are facing right here is this. There's a history that brought to October 7th. We understand that. And that history is very, very long. Possibly started in 1948 or thereabout or before. But what we are saying right now is this. There are still a number of people that are still kidnapped that have not been returned. And this unprovoked attack that have made it, like more than 1,200 people plus the 7 that they just killed not too long ago. It is something that the families are fighting for. They are mourning their loved ones that are still kept. They are mourning those that have been, that were killed. But what we are saying is this: you cannot expect the state of Israel to keep quiet and fold their arms and allow the dead not to be the people that are still kidnapped. You're going to just sit down and then allow these people to do whatever they want to do, and then they will go. These are the people, these are moms and dads, these are sons and daughters, these are grandparents that have perished, and some of them are still being held today by this terrorist group called Hamas. So now you see that happening, and then you see Hezbollah from the other side, from Lebanon, trying to fight again. And you see Iran that is sponsoring all of them, just standing by the side, and then, just fueling all, the Houthis. And one small nation is being fought against by all these people surrounding them. And you think they're going to sit back? Yes, let's mourn with them today, because a lot of people died. Many children were beheaded. A lot of them were raped and massacred unnecessarily. The worst after what the genocide that took place by Germany. So what we are seeing today is sometimes decisions are being made not simply because I know everybody's accusing Benjamin Netanyahu that the longer the fight is, the less likely that he's gonna step down or go to jail or whatever the case might be. But you have to understand that this man, it was under his watch that they came and did this. Whatever decision he's making is either going to make him look weak or look strong. But the point is, he's a small nation. They must protect themselves at all costs.
Yes,
that's all I can say.
George, George is listening very well. RG, do you agree with what George has put out? I know you would agree.
The world is such that the guy who makes who has the perspectives and bring out the perspectives and dominate the news is taken as the person who is saying the truth. I remember Biden standing in front of the White House condemning the children that were killed, that were beheaded. Subsequently, it was discovered that that news was false. There were so many false narratives that were pushed into the media to give justification for whatever action, whatever criminal action that Israel and that Netanyahu and Israel were going to take after that. If you understand the situation in Gaza, you wonder, and even anybody who understood the situation of how you move around in the Gaza Strip was surprised that there was no reaction to the so-called invasion for hours. It is unthinkable. If a fly should pass through the wall separating Gaza from Israel, the Israeli military forces would be aware of it. And yet there was a whole invasion, and there were so many things was done, and so-called 1,200 people were kidnapped. People, there was rape. There was nothing. After that initial noise, initial news, there was hardly ever any subsequent confirmation of all the accusations that were meted against Hamas. Apart from even the what kind of ammunition did the Hamas terrorists bring into Israel that Israel did not notice? According to Israeli newspapers, even some actions were done by the IDF to put to just so that they will have justification to call Hamas a terrorist group. The perspective.
Anyway, this is nothing but a conspiracy theory that doesn't even have any background or any foundation whatsoever. It's just like a lot of people that are denying the Holocaust government. They're saying that there are 6 million Jews did not die. This is exactly how it all starts. When you begin to bring conspiracy theory, or that the number of people that were said that were killed were not killed, and some of them were killed by IDF. Oh, well, come on, man!
No children were beheaded. No children were killed. There was no rape.
Okay.
How can the Hamas people take their time to be raping when they are supposed when they knew that surveillance across that border was in fact was pinpoint.
No, but how can you even justify or even open your mouth and say anything about the atrocity that was perpetrated a year ago? And this is one of the things that makes us. Where
did you get your news?
I just don't know.
You got your news from
the news is all over. No, the news is all over the place. The news, even Al Jazeera was reporting the same thing. Come on, how can you justify
Al Jazeera
that?
did not report the same thing. Please,
Al Jazeera did not say that 1,000 people died, 1,200 people died. Is that what you're saying? That Al Jazeera did not report that?
Now you are trying to share meat with your teeth. First of all, you said Al Jazeera reported the same thing. What did Al Jazeera report? Did Al Jazeera report children being beheaded? Did Al Jazeera report the rapes? Did Al Jazeera report the kidnappings?
Let me tell you something. Al Jazeera is a Muslim.
Let us get into the details.
We need Al
Joe Biden. Joe Biden was in front of White House to say that children were beheaded, children were killed. Later, he had to come out to apologize because those were false news.
What I'm saying to you is
an old man.
If you don't completely and absolutely condemn what Hamas did a year ago, you need to go and check yourself in the mirror. That's all I can say to you. If you have any excuse whatsoever about or give any element of excuse about what happened with Hamas
when we are having a discussion, it is a matter of opinion. Don't tell me to go and look into the mirror to check myself. What for?
Because you're here pontificating and telling us reasons why it is not what it was reported. What are you saying? 7 people that were just massacred a few days ago were not massacred. Is that what you say?
Hold on. I am unbiased in the situation.
You're not unbiased because you're a Muslim and you side the Muslim people.
I am not.
That's exactly what you're saying.
You are bringing religion into it.
No, you don't do that.
I am not a Muslim. I don't have to defend my faith.
Okay.
I don't have to defend my faith. And I'm telling you, let us take hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let's take it one by one. How many children were killed or beheaded and burnt? There was none.
Wait, Raji, hold on.
That one, there was none.
No, wait. Raji,
and up to today, there's no evidence of that. Up to today, there's no evidence of the rapes. Up to today.
Let me reply.
It is not a matter of religion.
She won't allow you to talk.
You asked a question. Let me reply. SSM is known to do background check before we come out. We have never done any news and people say that's not true because we do our background. We don't rely on one news source and we are not biased. We're just put it as it is. Now listen to our summary of what happened a year ago and why they are today commemorating this event. October the 7th had an attack by Hamas militant that resulted in the death of 1,205 people on the Israel side, mostly civilians. Fact, Raji. Some 250 people were captured and taken as hostage to the Gaza Strip, of whom 97 of them are still being held in captive in different areas. Facts, Raji. 37 Israeli soldiers were also killed. Fact, Raji. Families of hostages and supporters of the Tel Aviv plan today called for a candlelight and all that, and they are all there as evidence to what has happened. Facts, Raji. So it is not emotion.
I don't understand. Look, how many children were killed and beheaded and burnt?
Now,
what difference does it make if they were raped and killed or were burnt?
We are talking.
Because
how many children were even killed? No children were killed. No children were beheaded.
Okay, hold on. We are talking about the Reverend Father was burnt, and you're asking whether the beard was burnt also. Man, come on, man. Which one is worse? Whether they were beheaded or whether they were killed or whatever the case might be.
There were no children killed or beheaded.
1,205. That's
how many of them?
I'm giving the number. George, listen, the number is still going on. Now, during a 1 week truce, there was remember that time, there was that break in the fight. 105 hostages were released in exchange for 240 Palestinian prisoners. Facts, Raji. Since October the 7th, nearly 42,000 people have been killed also in Gaza. Facts, Raji. So it's not, it's not these are
honestly, I don't even understand all these your facts you are giving out. I don't understand. What I'm telling you.
You want me to read them again? Why read through again?
What do you don't have to read them. You don't have to read them. You don't have to read them. You're just showing your bias.
No. Now, what I'm saying is this: look, it's not bias.
I'm telling you. Listen. I'm telling you.
Are you saying that 1205 people were not killed?
I'm not talking about.
Forget about
1205.
Biden.
Whatever.
Forget about Biden. Let's talk about facts that we have on ground. Forget about Biden. It's your bias that is coming. Forget about Biden.
So Biden
people
running
died.
With the fact
they killed,
that children were killed and beheaded and burned.
Was 1,205 people killed? Come on, man.
All right.
After this, how many Palestinians have been killed? More than 50,000.
Yes, that's what I said.
More than 50,000. Most of them children. Most of them children.
Most of them children. We have condemned that in this particular news between the line. We have condemned it.
You are condemned by robbing the head of Israel.
This is a lesson.
More than 90% of habitation across Gaza has been razed to the ground.
Touch the tiger by the tail. A warning. Don't touch the tiger by the tail.
Our viewers are watching. Let's not let's get it together. Let's begin to wrap it up. Anyway, Raji, today the Israelis are out there burning candles and commemorating this event.
They can do bonfires.
Look at it. And then you say that you're fair and you are balanced. You're not partisan.
I want to thank you both for coming. Between the Lines, Monday, October the 7th, a day when the Israelis are also mourning their dead. And the fight continues. We don't support any fight. We want all of this. But when something happens, we give we say it as what is happening. So, Raji, the story of Biden, I don't know.
You don't have to keep on calling my name. Make your point and go ahead with it.
All right. If you are listening, you're all my men. Thank you both for coming. We'll be here Wednesday for African updates. Is there anything you want to say? Last words before we go, Raji. Let me start with you. Anything?
What is happening now? What is happening in the Middle East is abominable. What is happening between Israel and Iran and Lebanon and the Houthis is just a distraction from the criminal dissemination of the whole of Gaza.
Thank you.
As you are speaking, more than 90% of Gaza has been razed to the ground. I heard and their survivor, they are starving. There's genocide going on.
Thank you, Raji. George, what do you have to say before we crop it up?
The only thing I have to say, I mourn with the people that are mourning in Israel today that lost their loved ones, and I also mourn with those that are the captives that are still being held. I mourn with them. I condemn the killings of children or innocent civilians, but I also condemn Hamas and Hezbollah or any other militant group who will use innocent human shield to try to hide themselves. They are criminals. They are demonic in their actions. When you want to hide yourself with, we use human shield. It is despicable, unacceptable. I condemn it. So, and then also finally, my hope is that there will be peace in that land, peace enough to disagree to agree, or peace enough to dwell together so that there will be peace. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen anytime soon. That's it.
It's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. Gentlemen, thank you. Let's say less. I know emotions are boiling because of our views.
No emotion. Just the fact that Israel is the most vicious terrorist state in the world.
But Jiraji, what is Hamas doing in Lebanon? And
ask them. What is Hezbollah?
What are they doing there?
What are they doing?
We'll come back on Wednesday. Raji, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Now let's also see aftermath of the local election in reverse. Let's see if the peace will stay. We hope so, and we thank God for the election so far. George, you're awesome. Thank you for coming. Raji,
thank God.
My man, we do it like this,
Wakanda.
All right, guys. We come again.
All
have
right. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. That's the word. Have a good evening.
Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis